Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jackie Atchison, Executive Director for the Arts Council for Monterey County. Thank you for joining us today for this workshop, Virtual Reality, Stay Creative, Produce Content, our first virtual BusinessWorks program. BusinessWorks is our quarterly professional development for local creatives and arts organizations. Today, we have two amazing local artists with us, Erin Lee Gafill and Paul Richmond, who have been producing online art content long before this pandemic. They're going to share some insights on their process for creating and sharing digital art content online. Our first presenter is Erin Lee Gothel, an award-winning artist, teacher, and writer from Big Sur. Her abstracted landscapes, plein air paintings, and still life paintings are collected internationally. She teaches creativity and painting workshops online and in person. She completed an online art series called Awaken the Artist Within and is currently releasing weekly installments for her newest online art series, Get In, Get Out, Get On With It, that you can find easily on YouTube or through her website at eringothel.com. And in 2009, she was honored at an Arts Council Champion of the Arts. Please welcome Erin Gothel.
Hey, it's really great to be here, and it's really amazing just thinking back on so many different kinds of things that we've gone through over the years. Listening to this presentation, it just really reminded me. And I'm just going to check something right now just to see if the sound is still working. Can everybody still hear me? So I'm just checking in because we're having a little technical practice on my end, but I'm hearing me, so hopefully you are too. But what I want to start with is telling you a little bit about how I started responding to this incident, which is like nothing anyone has ever experienced before. And initially I was really thrown and kind of walked in circles a lot. But I really had to ask myself, you know, what is my purpose? What is my point, you know, in being here and being an artist? And what I really reached back into for myself was that innate creativity that we all have, that desire to connect, that need to connect, was actually matched by the moment's need for us artists to be connecting to the world. And I went back into my archives of YouTube videos that I'd made over the years and decided to release them immediately as free content. And creating content that we can share with people, whether it's 1 minute Facebook tutorials or really produced things that take a little bit more work. These are ways right now that I'm finding connection. I'm finding structure for myself. It gives me a real focus for my day to check in with my online students. I have 300 online students all over the world right now that watch my YouTube videos and come into my Facebook private group for feedback and commentary. So that's one thing. And I think the first thing each artist has to do, and what I had to do, was look within and inquire, you know, do that kind of deep soul searching. And then leaning into the practice of making art that has become the foundation for my day for the last 25 years. It's a practice that is just like a framework. It's self-care, taking a walk every morning, reconnecting with nature. It's a lot of that. It's creating a structure of a daily 4 hours at the easel or whatever it is. You know, everybody has their own. But we've all figured out this stuff over the years. And now we're being just pushed to use what we know. We know so many things that we learned the hardest way. And now at this hardest moment, it is, we're all confronted with these moments of fear, uncertainty, despair, depression. It's everywhere. And to kind of have your own armor against that. What are the things that work for me? What are the things that get me out of bed every day? That purpose connected with your practice is more essential now than ever. And again, in this particular time of COVID-19, what I decided to do was just start scouring the internet of Instagram and Facebook and looking at what are other people doing right now that could be useful for me to adapt to or adopt into my own practices. And the things that I found were that there's a international, robust, kind of organic and spontaneous community of artists and arts teachers and creative people who are just like me, wanting to serve, wanting to help, wanting to contribute something. And I began to really just look at their modeling and adopt it for myself. So I've definitely shifted. My daily routine has really changed. It's really begun to incorporate daily posts, daily art making, daily instruction, like literally a 39-minute how to light a still life, thing. And that practice of waking up in the morning and creating a structure that nurtures me, that I can then use that energy to go into the work that I can use to serve others. So it creates this circularity. And I feel very fortunate that over the last 25 years, we have been through forest fires, floods, road closures, condemned bridges, the economic crises that we've experienced, all of these things, and every human being has these, your story of what you have gone through to get to where you are right now. And that kind of, okay, we were up against the wall. What did we do then? All of those moments, I've gone back into them and thought, what worked for us? What got us through that terrible time? And one thing that comes again and again to my mind and is really part of, where I grew up in Big Sur, where, annual road closures were totally part of the normal, and now on this global level, we're seeing the entire world experiencing this stop, is how do I serve? That's the thing, you go back to, okay, I'm dealing with this, but how do I serve? Where is the need? And it's so much. And how do what do I bring? How do I contribute? So I have a daily practice and I work more today and every day than I usually do. I have a structure of content through producing video for YouTube, for Facebook. I'm doing Instagram auctions. I'm doing Facebook auctions. I've got a new concept for a whole new line of work that began as what I call isolation paintings, and now is going to move into something a little more cheerful. But basically purpose, practice, partners, finding those people out there who are leading the way, who you can ally with, who can mentor you, who you can mentor. And that kind of answer for me in that first question was, how do I reconnect to my creative spark? And it may look very different from the normal, whatever the normal is. So you have to really adapt. And we're pretty good at that. And that's really, I think, in a nutshell, what we're doing.
Thank you, Erin. We really appreciate your insight on our new reality.
Thank you.
Just so everyone watching knows that after our next speaker, we will have a brief Q&A. I guess I should put myself on here. Our next presenter is Paul Richmond. And Paul, you want to start your video so we can see your smiling face? There it is. Paul is an internationally recognized visual artist and activist whose career has included exhibitions in galleries and museums throughout the U.S., as well as publications in numerous art journals and anthologies. He is co-founder of the You Will Rise Project, an organization that empowers those who have experienced bullying to speak out creatively through the arts. Paul was our 2019 Champions of the Arts featured artist, and you can see his work behind me. And he was also our event host. He's a professional artist and the schools teacher for the Arts Council, teaching art to elementary school children in Salinas. You can learn more about Paul at paulrichmondstudios.com. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you so much. I was very excited to be invited to do this. I love Erin's work. I loved listening to what you had to say, Erin. You're very inspiring. A lot of what my own experiences and thoughts kind of echo some of what you were saying, but I'll put my own spin on it, of course. And I think like a lot of us, when this happened at first, I did also feel very helpless and lost. It seemed like, you know, there were certain tasks that needed to be done by essential people. And at first, I wasn't sure how I fit into that. And I think a lot of people, you know, are struggling to know how to help, what to do. And for me, going back through my whole life, it all goes back to art and to being creative. That's how I process things. That's how I connect with people. So I knew that the answer was going to be somewhere in the arts. And I'm actually going to share my screen with you. I'll come back and so that you can see me too, but I do want to show you just a few visuals to go along with the stories that I'm going to share about some of the different ways that I have been using social media and art to connect with people during this time. So give me 1 second here. Okay, you should be seeing my screen now, hopefully. All right, so staying creative, staying connected. Those are two very important ideas to me. And so let me just share with you a few different ways that I am going about that. Right before this all started, I actually began teaching art classes at Palenque Arts, which is a wonderful arts organization, a multicultural arts organization here in Seaside. And every Friday I would go there. They all call me Mr. Paul, and I would do art projects with the kids. So when this first happened and we had to shelter in place, I began doing the same thing, but online through the Palenque Arts Facebook page. So every Friday at 2 o'clock, I go up in my studio and I set up a little, project, and the kids at home get to, do it along with me. And I will tell you, the first time I did it, I felt ridiculous. I was just talking to my computer as if there were people there, and it seemed odd. It wasn't the same thing as being in a room full of excited kids. However, right after the video concluded, a lot of the kids who were watching posted pictures of their artwork, and that did it for me. That gave me the opportunity to see, okay, I actually am connecting with people by doing this. And here's some of the pictures that they posted last week after that project. So I think that when you can find ways to do what it is that you were already doing, but in a digital way, and most importantly, maintaining that connection with people, and the people that you were already working with, that you were already serving, how can you still do that if you can't actually be in person with them? And there are a surprising number of ways that can happen. So, in this case, it's through the Palenque Arts Facebook Live. But depending on the audience and depending on what you're trying to do, you know, there are a lot of different platforms that you can explore. This is another project that I started right at the beginning when I was feeling especially kind of hopeless and just needed to do something positive. I was speaking with a friend of mine who is a nurse on the COVID-19 floor at a hospital, and she told me about how the patients who are there feel very isolated, and of course because they, you know, can't have visitors or anything, but also because so many of us out here are focused on how we can protect ourselves and protect each other and prevent the spread, that many of the people who have actually contracted it and who are fighting it feel left out of that conversation or that struggle. So we, through our You Will Rise project, which is my anti-bullying program, we started inviting people to just create get well artwork. And it took off like crazy. We set up a page on our website. So if you want to go check this out, it's youwillriseproject.com/getwellworld. And you can see just hundreds and hundreds of pieces from kids and adults all over the world. And we print them out and send them to patients in hospitals. If anybody who requests it, it's a free thing. We send a booklet of all the artwork to them. So that's been a really, I think, like Erin was saying, when you can find a way to do something positive that you know is going to help people, it takes away, or at least diminishes, that feeling of helplessness. And doing this Get Well World program, where literally every single day we have hundreds of emails that show up with all this new artwork, it's been so uplifting and so inspiring. So that's been awesome. And I also do work that is a little bit more adult oriented, I guess you could say. This is my Cheesecake Boys series, which is my spin on classic pinup art, which I always love. I love the pinup girls from the 40s and 50s, but I thought it would be funny to do a gender swap. So my series is called Cheesecake Boys. So every day I post a new coloring page on cheesecakeboys.com, which is just a part of my own website. And again, it's the kind of thing where people all over the world log in, they print it out, they color it, they post pictures. I can see that interaction and engagement, because for me, it's not enough to just put something out there. I like to know that it's, you know, being used. I like to get that feedback and response and connection with people. So I kind of create projects with that in mind. I'm very, I'm ADD, I'm very extroverted. I want people around, I want things to do. So the projects that I've created are helping to really fulfill that for me. I'm also definitely keeping up my own studio practice and doing commissioned work. And I try to get the most bang out of every project that I do. So this was a project, it was a commission for the pop singer Troye Sivan that I painted last week to help promote his new single. And when the record label contacted me and asked if I would, do this painting, I said, sure, but can I also make a time-lapse video so that I can put that out on my YouTube and engage with other people that way? So, it's kind of figuring out how you can take one project and then take it into all of these different platforms and share it with different people too. So, that's something that I try to do a lot with. And then just being creative with the needs of the time. Here, I'm selling face masks with my paintings on them, which have been really popular. Just trying to take something, that's basically a negative, who wants to walk around wearing masks all the time, and then put kind of a fun twist on it. I'm also really grateful that I get to continue teaching. I had taught classes through Open Ground Studios here in Seaside, and now we're doing the same classes, but digitally. So every Monday night I get to see all my friends and what they're working on their screens. And then we're using Zoom for that, and it's actually wonderful. I can take a screenshot of their work and pull it into Photoshop and make suggestions. So, we're making it work. I think artists are good at that. And also, speaking of Open Ground Studios, tomorrow, Saturday, I'll be teaching an online figure drawing workshop there. So if that's something you're interested in, you can check that out at opengroundstudios.com. So I'm just trying to do a lot of different things, keep myself entertained mostly, stay connected with people. To me, that's that's what is going to help us all to get through this. And things are going to be different from here on out. So for me, it's also an opportunity to really learn about a lot of these different ways of using technology to teach and to connect. That's something that had always been on the back burner for me, but I never really dove into it. And now the situation is sort of forcing that. And in a way, you know, hopefully that will be a positive that I can take away from it. I want to continue doing, you know, online classes and workshops, and just even hanging out. Every Thursday night, I hang out with all of my artist friends from all over the country, and we just hang out and paint together on Zoom and talk and make jokes and do tarot card readings for each other and stuff. And so it's about using the technology to be connected, and to also, I think, find ways to be genuine and to share what you are already doing. I know a lot of people, especially people who are a little bit afraid of technology or afraid of social media, feel like they have to become something else or do something that's way outside of their comfort zone in order to participate. But I think that, and as you can see from the examples that I shared with you, it's actually more about finding who you are and what you have to offer. And the online stuff, that's just the tool. That's just how you are sharing it with people. But it's really more about looking inward, figuring out what you have to offer, what you need, what you want, and how to make it work. So, and lastly, I would just say, don't be afraid of messing up. You know, right before we started doing this presentation today, we had different technical issues happening. We didn't know if it was going to work, if we were going to be freezing or what. But you just have to try it, and people are very forgiving. Nobody is watching because they want to see you fail. You know, if you mess up, if you're doing an online live stream and the doorbell rings and you have to go answer it because it's some kind of delivery or something, people don't care. They're just grateful that they get to see you and appreciate what you're doing. So I guess my biggest suggestion for everybody watching that, you know, is a bit hesitant about trying something like this, just dive in and do it. You can dip your toes in at first if you want. You don't have to go live. You can pre-record things and share them that way. There's so many different ways of doing it, but don't be afraid of messing up. Messing up is how we learn. And actually, I think people really appreciate that human side of all of us, being able to see, oh, okay. I mean, and you can see even, you know, celebrities who are doing interviews from their home with bad quality cameras and no makeup and everything. So we're all kind of in this together, and you might as well do something, because there's so many talented people out there with so much to offer. And I know I'm certainly enjoying watching and participating in as many online things as I can. And so now it's your turn. You make something for us, and I can't wait to watch. All right, that's all I've got. We'll go back to you, Jackie.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
Thank you.
And I love your message about staying creative, staying connected, especially during the shelter in place when everyone is feeling very isolated. But one thing we've learned is that creatives will always learn a way to create.
We find a way to do it.
Absolutely. So thank you.
Yeah.
So we have a few minutes here for some Q&A. If we can bring Erin back on. Whoops, Erin's gone. No, they're all there. Her is here. Okay, she's busy painting. So we'll start with the first question, which is, why is it important for you as an artist to create art content during this crisis? Erin, you want to go first?
Can you see me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on a second. I'm having my own little problems here.
See, that's exactly what I was just saying. And see, we still love you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we'll see if I can.
There you go.
Okay, I'm somewhere. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So would you repeat the question?
Yeah, why is it important for you as an artist to create art content during this crisis?
That's such a good question. I mean, I have to say, initially, I really froze. Like, I didn't want to paint at all. And but I did want to create. I mean, I ended up making bread and knitting
probably 5 yards of, this scarf that will never end. So it went somewhere, and I could see that the need, it's a need. I mean, it's a compulsion. It's a have to, but it doesn't always come out the way that you think it's supposed to. So what I have learned to do is follow the energy. It's like, if it's not happening as a painting, then maybe it's happening as a loaf of sourdough bread, or maybe you're planting your garden, or maybe it's some other thing. But I also felt like it's a call, when something like this happens, artists are in an incredible place of development in that searching within that Paul was talking about. We are practiced in looking within and coming out with our offering. And that is something that every human being right now, whether you're a nurse or a staying at home mom or whatever, is struggling with. How do you go within, and what do you find there? And so I felt really challenged and called to respond. And, the moment was like, you've got to get it together, girl, and come up with something.
Yeah. How about you, Paul?
That's the same thing I said to myself. You've got to get it together, girl.
That's right.
But, I think primarily why I am creating is for my own mental health. I know every time I sit at my easel or work on a piece, I just feel better. And it's very similar to how I've heard many people talk about how they feel after they go to the gym or something. I wouldn't know from experience on that one, but I definitely know that if I'm feeling stressed or just, conflicted or upset, if I can manage to make some studio time, then I feel better. And then I think the second part of that is that I do know that there are especially a lot of young people who are kind of following and watching what I'm doing and being inspired by different things. And that's very motivating for me, because I want to show them, that I want to help empower them to know that that creativity is important. And artists, what we do is making something out of nothing, or finding chaos and turning it into something beautiful. And we're all in that state of chaos right now. So it's the time. I think it's more important than ever for all creative people to be, jumping in and doing whatever it is they do.
I agree 100%. Now more than ever, that we have to respond to this. And I think the trick is to take care of yourself as well, to respond and to fully embody whatever is coming through artistically, creatively, and also really take time to, like, if you need a day of just not doing, listen now more than ever, because we're battling huge emotional forces, realities that everybody is thrown this curveball of the uncertainty of the future. And if you have anybody in your life who's actually going through this illness, the existential terror of that experience is just profound and unsettling. And then looking at your community. So it's really tough. So we really have to take care.
Yes. So do you both think it's worth the time to create online content when it's free and available? Erin, you want to touch on that?
Yes. What was the first part of the question?
Is it worth the time to create content if it's for free?
Yes. And I have to say that, it was so clear to me. We have felt so much that we had this content and we made it available for free. So we had stuff in the can, but we've gone back to the drawing board. I'm making my own videos now, because 1-minute videos, 30-second videos, I don't have a long attention span for something if it isn't giving me something or engaging me. And I know it's really mattering, because people are receiving it and responding to it. They're writing, I get personal letters in the mail. I get, feedback from people on Facebook or Instagram that are appreciative of the offering. And it's worth it because of so many reasons. When you as an artist synthesize your knowledge into a form that you can share with someone else, that's so helpful for you personally. It's all energy. It's just this big circle of energy. And I feel that this energy is around us and through us, and we're in it. And if we can form it into this online offering, it's going into a really positive channel. That channel is reaching, it could be millions of people, it could be dozens, it could be the hundreds. And that offering is then received by them and uplifting their lives. And then they're more capable, more able to go out into their life and make their own offering. And the whole, what do they say? The river rises and all the boats on the river rise, whatever it is. But definitely worth it. And it's personally worth it because you personally need, I have to get out of the bed. I have to have what am I getting out of the bed for this morning? When you're really feeling low, and it's like, I have to check in with my students. I have to make sure there's a new lesson on that color mixing concept that we talked about. I have to follow through on my commitments. So that helps me, that helps me just as much as anything. And it really helps the people that I'm trying to help. And then whatever else it's doing, it's certainly giving me a way to spend my day, which is really good.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Paul?
Well, everything she just said, plus I would add that I know that it matters because I'm also a consumer of all of this wonderful content that other artists are putting out there. And so it only feels right to do the same, to try to offer something myself. But like those days that you were talking about where sometimes you do just feel overwhelmed or stressed and maybe you don't feel like creating something yourself that day, one of the best ways for me to pull myself out of that feeling is to watch something inspiring that someone else has shared. Erin's videos, or just so many different artists all around the world are doing so many creative things, musicians and performers and everybody. And that really makes a difference for me. So I think, all of us are contributing to this greater, to this greater thing. And it's really awesome. And I hope that that continues even after this is over.
Right,
Yeah.
I agree. Well, I want to thank you both for being here today on our first live Facebook video. And I want to thank all of you who joined us during your lunch break. We hope that this information inspires you to embrace our new reality and learn how to create your own online art content. And I also want to thank our staff, Erin and Jasmine, who are handling mission control in the background here for our Facebook meeting. And to learn more, you can follow our Facebook page or our website at artsformc.org for more upcoming events. And if you have any online art content that you would like shared on the Arts Council Facebook pages or website, please send them to Jasmine, Jazmine, at artsformc.org. And that concludes our first virtual BusinessWorks. I want to thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend.